Christiane. Christiane!
Oh. My heart beat quick, with haste to horse, and off wildly like a hero into war.
He always leaves.
The evening weighed heavy on the earth, and night climbed to all hills. Already the oak trees were steeped in fog. There, an upturned giant. There, where darkness gazes from the thicket, with 100,000 eyes.
The moon shone miserably through the haze. The wind carried the wings of birds and rustled around my ears. The night brought with it 1,000 beasts, but my courage was 1,000-fold. My spirit was an old
I looked at you and your warm happiness flowed from your eyes and over me. My heart was wholly by your side, and every breath I took for you. The rosy pink of spring sat on your lovely cheeks. Tenderness for me you got. I hoped for it, yet deserved it not.
Goethe used to say that young love is like a bomb, thrown at night that ascends in a soft, glistening line to the stars. It stays there for a while, and you think it will stay there the whole night, perhaps even become one of the stars itself. But it doesn't. It descends back down the way it came, finding the spot it started from, finally bringing with it the destruction that we held our breath for so long.
Goethe said a lot of things.
I was always happy to leave the poetry to him.
He had a poem for everything.
Saying goodbye, how budget, how bleak. From your look, I heard your heart speak. In your kisses, such love, oh, such joy, such pain. You left. I stayed and looked to the ground and looked after you with tear-stained eyes. And yet, what joy it is to love and to be loved. Oh gods, what joy. But this story isn't ours. I suppose it's still his.
1, 2, 3, 4. Warum gabst du uns die Gefühle, uns einander in das Herz zu sehen?
1784.
Unbekannt die seltenen Gefühle. Guten Tag! Unser Verhältnis hat sich schlecht. Unser Verhältnis hat sich schlecht. And this mine shaft which we are opening today will become the doors through which we journey to discover the hidden treasures of this world, through which these deeply buried gifts of nature will at last be brought into the light of day. We ourselves are able, with God's blessing, to ascend and descend here. And that which we can now only imagine with our minds, we will in time be able to behold with our eyes. But I do not wish to linger on any longer. I have gone on for far too long. Let us draw closer to the place in which all our hopes and wishes are buried. Oh, before we do that, however, let us stop by in the house of our Lord God. He who formed the mountains, he who buried these gifts in their depths and who gave man his reason, so that he may venture to bring them to the light of day. Let us ask us that he stands by us in our enterprise, that he journeys with us to the depths of this world, and that this equivocal metal, more often used for evil than for good, may be mined now to the honour and glory of humanity. If it pleases you then, let's dive in!
Marvellous speech, Mr. Goethe. Adorable. When will it be published?
I doubt it will be. Sadly, not everything I write is.
Goethe? Oh. Hello, ladies. I'm the Duke.
I should really...
That was spectacular.
mediocre by any standards.
Oh, not by mine.
The lady has spoken.
A writer, like a state, must continually reinvent how he or she defines herself. That was...
Spectacular.
No, just the same. Excuse me.
You certainly don't do things by halves,
I
do
try
you?
not to.
You've a rather a large undertaking ahead of you. I'm surprised you can take so much time away from your writing to do it.
Oh, Goethe carries the sins of Weimar on his shoulders. He will do much good, hinder many bad things. And we must console ourselves, if we can, that we have lost one of our greatest writers for a few years.
You seem to have completely separated your social life from your moral and poetical.
Well, we must if we writers are to survive.
No, I know.
I only hope to prove as good a statesman.
As you are a poet.
Charlotte, the boy would hardly...
This mine will be my lasting work, my true work. Excuse me. The year was 1775 when my father gave these to me. I packed my things to leave, but Frankfurt had become so narrow I couldn't do anything there, or write anything. Go to Italy, my father said. Clear your head, as he had done at my age. How lucky we are to be given the chance to flee and come back soon. I didn't get far, of course. The Duke got to me first. Circles that repeat. Political and pointless. They're opinions that follow the traveller through Europa. Europe. How happy.
Do pardon me.
Charlotte, pardoned, of course.
Fritz is not with you.
No.
Very well. I don't know what to make of Carl, lumbering you with all this work on the mine. I'm in a mine. He's so capricious.
He's a good and honest boy.
I've never known boys to make much good leaders of men.
Or women.
Ah. Do you think it's wise what you're doing?
By which you mean?
Well, taking on all this work, you will find time to
Well, I try.
Please do, my dear. I'm worried that one day you'll pack your bags and go home. I fear Weimar has changed.
Well, there was nothing for me in Frankfurt.
Well, there's a handful more happening there than here, I've been told.
I'm not entirely sure what happening actually means, Charlotte. Are things not happening here?
Don't be so silly. No, you never speak to me anymore, Johann. I miss our talks and our letters.
I have absolutely nothing to say to anyone.
That cannot be true.
I speak only to not remain silent.
Oh, there's no need for melodrama.
You know, I would have long since thrown away all my responsibilities without you. You know this. I love you. But you know this.
We're as good as married.
Yes.
My husband...
Has returned. Yes, I know. Fritz did mention it to me, of course.
Boy, I'm sorry
Well,
you did that. Johann, it's my life.
Well, I suppose our little lunches will be over.
I suppose so too.
Well, when will we see each other next?
But it's only for the time being. I mean, we can still write to each other. A letter a day.
I fear you're leaving me all alone, Charlotte.
Oh, never. It's just obstacles, my dear. Obstacles.
The year was 1786. 11 years in Weimar, Goethe was at the peak of his civil career. Christiane, a young woman at this point, was working in a factory making artificial flowers. Needless to say, their lives were very different. And then I said, someone has to earn money in my family, why not me? And that settled it. My father sits home waiting for letters to arrive, while I sit here providing for the rest of us.
It's rather nice to be out, you know, out of the house. I do find domestic chores so boring sometimes.
All times.
I get so much joy out of a tidy home and clean curtains.
I can't imagine anything better.
How's this? Is it a good likeness?
Fabulous. More blue. Did you hear about Anna?
Our Anna?
No, Anna something. She has to be beheaded tomorrow.
Beheaded?
We've been given the afternoon off.
I didn't even know they beheaded people anymore.
Well, they haven't done it in 30 years, but the Duke made up his mind. She stabbed her own child. In my view, she deserves to die.
That's awful.
Well, she wasn't married, of course. What else would you do? Keep it?
It's better than killing the poor thing. Cruel.
Which bit?
This is what they drive women to. All for what?
Weimar is ruled by boys, and so are we.
You know, I heard one of the manager's friends sniggering at us the other day as we worked. I bet I've done more work in 1 week than he's done in his whole life.
Christiane, I never knew you had that tongue so pointy.
Oh, a girl has to have something pointy every once in a while.
wish you were.
Little
Red rose on the heath, and the rose said,
I'll stab you. So you always think of me. Duke.
what of Ilmenau?
It's a charming valley. I find myself revelling in the fresh air.
We've received word from trade, but this mine building is fast becoming a fiasco.
Progress will be slow.
Slow?
Time.
It's been months.
Progress will be slower. You can't expect a lasting work to spring out of fresh air and evergreen hills.
You have a responsibility to the people and to me.
Which I am trying my hardest to fulfill. I cannot control the elements, Your Excellency, as much as I wish I could.
And do we know the cause?
Drainage tunnels, something broke.
How?
A dozen or so are dead.
A dozen?
We will compensate the families.
Well, we must.
Once the mine is working again, we will more than make up for our losses.
How long until work continues?
Trader estimates a year.
A year?
Yes.
Complete standstill?
Yes.
Johann.
Excellency.
We need this mine open. The duchy is not wealthy.
For a duke to spend within his limits. His wealth is his problem.
Necessity.
Niceties. Re-establishing a redundant mine. You have set me an impossible task. We are working against nature, and we are all powerless in the face of that. A man can only do so much with the time and resources given to him. Am I an expert on mining silver, on minerals?
No.
I string together rhymes, not elements.
But you could.
Not yet, at least. You sent a poet to do a geologist's job.
Well, I assumed you could adapt to
And
it.
I can. I need time.
And it seems you have it now. Use this year, Johann. Devour everything you can. Take some time in Ilmenau. Some distance from Weimar may do you good.
Distance, better than my presence here.
You were born to write. That doesn't mean not getting your fingernails dirty every once in a while. And anyway, I hear you're to be published once more.
Indeed.
I look forward to the results. I've seen nothing leak from your pen of late.
Well, there's nothing new for you in there. 8 volumes of ancient scraps.
Ah, scrap by Goethe is better than a book by any other.
I thank you.
Gershon seems convinced it'll be a success.
For him, perhaps.
But not for you.
Publishing these fragments, it feels like I've died.
Surely this will remind the world you certainly have not.
And how happy will I be when I can finally finish all these things I've started? Then I can say I am still living. I don't care about the world, Carl. I care about myself, how I feel. I don't write for the world.
Well, then for who?
I think I used to know, but he's... Oh, please, never mind. My apologies, Your Excellency. These works are bringing up babies I thought I'd killed.
I understand. Well, I can try. Talk to me.
I will.
If you need.
Thank you.
Don't harm yourself in silence.
I won't.
Go back to Ilmenau. It'll do you good, fresh sight. You look long overdue a break. Look, I can say nothing more. Will you escort me to the council chamber?
Of course, I shall.
There's my Goethe.
Yes, here I am. Grey days in the north. Speak, stone, speak! I took their advice, a leaf through the works of my contemporaries daily, and found none. Nothing.
My heart beats quick.
Haste to horse, and off wildly like a hero into war.
He's gone, Charlotte.
I know.
He didn't say a word.
I know.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sul mare lucida, l'astro d'argento, la cida e l'onda, prospero il vento, venite all'agile, batteta via, venite a Roma, venite a Roma.
It pleases me so much to hear you took my disappearance just as I had hoped. Reconcile me to Frau von Stein and the Duke. It was never my intention to offend anyone, and I can say nothing to justify myself. Heaven forbid I ever betray a friend of the premise of my decisions. I have received letters from them both, and fear I may never be able to answer them. I am slowly recovering here now in Rome after my dramatic leap into the unknown. Oh, Moritz is here! You would think all of this wouldn't suit him, but he appears to be leaving Rome a more complete person than he was before he came. I did not know him before. He will be setting off soon and will visit you. Listen to what he has to say to you. Then you will understand what I'm trying to say. I am living together with Tischbein in this spacious apartment on the Corso, not far from the Porta del Popolo. Did I say that right? He is a thoroughly original man and makes Rome come alive to me. Monta, the hitchhiker, is also here, though he has broken his leg and suffers a great deal for it. We all suffer with him. He is a thoroughly good man and understands me. He tells me stories from his own life, and I am amazed at their similarity with my own. He forces me to reflect within myself on my own life's history, and what a thing it is. What a strange thing it is. Being in Weimar caused so much disappointment. I dare not say much about my artistic pursuits, and would be hard pushed to say anything substantial about the nation as a whole at this point. I hope, perhaps, when we are next face to face, I will be able to describe it better. Live well, my friend, and write to me often. This letter comes to you with the new year. I wish you a happy start to it. This past year has been the most important of my life. I could die now and be happy, or continue living a little while longer. I would take either, if I'm to be honest. Adieu, my friend. Goethe.
Aha, Goethe, you're here!
Oh, good day, my friend!
Oh, no good whatsoever. It's still fucking
be
killing
quiet,
me.
Munter. That's all I've heard all day.
Well, if you had a leg that was...
Yes. Physiological hypotheticals have become rather trite.
Trite? Calls me trite.
Hush, Munter, we have bigger news to divulge.
Oh,
Goethe.
How was the weather out there?
The weather. We have the finest writer in Germany, and his best conversation topic is the weather.
Do go on.
The weather was fine, it was raining, as it always seems to do in Rome. So, we were out walking just now, and well, we saw and heard something quite devastating.
morosely macabre.
So, there were 1,000 pigs being slaughtered. They were held together in a large pen.
I saw it last year.
Yes. It happens all winter through, apparently. So, the pigs are boxed in by the 100, and then at a given signal, men leap in amongst the animals, they seize them, wrestle with them, and then they stab them under one of the front trotters. They twist the tool into the wound until the animal is dead.
How strange.
Ooh, and the racket the men make, the squabble.
The cries of the animals. It was a strange spectacle indeed, but fascinating, wasn't it?
Yes, what amazes me is how public the scene is. I wish we were also confronted with the pain certain beings undergo for the pleasure of others.
Drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but is that not just it? Is it not our responsibility to do just that? To reveal to the unsuspecting public the cruelties of our existence, its pleasures? You ought to write that down in your book.
Your treatise on life.
My treatise on art.
I would hardly call these observations. They are just that. Our reflections and impressions of the natural world around us. The best works of art, just like the best works of nature, arise from true and natural laws. The artistry lies in the mode of representation, the brush, the quill.
The finger.
Thank you.
True art shows us the things we otherwise would miss. Nature through a looking glass.
Are you being serious?
Of course I'm serious.
Characteristic art is the only true art.
Oh, here we go.
No, listen. When it comes from inner, independent, individual impressions, when it's wild, raw, born from educated sensitivity. Then, and only then, is the piece whole and living.
Ah, then art must be living. How can something live outside of the laws of nature?
The artist creates his own rules.
Oh.
Yeah, so the edge of the canvas is the edge of the world. Its rules are its own.
Well, by that definition, anything can be art.
Well, anything can be as long as it's got spirit. No, look. The artist may define what is art and what is not. It's his prerogative, I'd say. If there's spirit, then there's art.
Look, I admit, I used to agree with you. When I first came to Rome, though, I realised quite quickly that I understood nothing of art, and until then I had only wondered and enjoyed, like you, nature's pale reflection in it. One has to learn to look deeper, allow oneself to get lost in one's own sensory perceptions.
At some point that becomes dangerous. I fear sinking too deep and not finding the surface again.
And that is why we create art, to keep us afloat. To a certain degree.
Oh, this is all getting rather serious.
Life is serious, Munter.
In part.
Munter's right, let's relax a while. Faustina will be coming here soon in any case. To model for me, I need a rest before she arrives.
Regain your energies now.
It requires effort to stare at such beauty for such a long period of time.
I'm sure.
And how are things with Faustina?
Oh, well, I could tell you of one or two charming walks we've been on together.
Oh, you devil!
Women with baggage should really be avoided, Goethe.
That damn second pillar!
I would hardly call a 3-year-old child baggage.
I certainly would.
Judge not, lest ye be judged.
Oh, your piece on her is coming along very nicely, it's very precise.
My skills aren't much. I'm trying to capture her charms in paint more than anything else.
Beware women with charms. Now, I've watched them all very closely, and in the months I've been here, I've seen not more than one whose charms were not up for sale.
Italy has made a cynic of you.
He's right, Goethe. The women here are altogether rather lovely. But one cannot become involved with the fairer sex without it being a complete waste of time.
Dissatisfied is the only man I know who'd rather paint an Italian girl than...
I take that as a compliment. And on that note, we'll sound the trumpet of my departure. I do hope you'll behave yourself this evening, Goethe. If you need me, I'll be in my chambers.
I'm sure he shall.
Good night, my friends. I do enjoy our little chats. I hope you know how much I learned from you.
Well, I do now.
Well, I suppose I'll go up as well, rest my poor leg. It's killing me today, you know.
Yes, I know, Munter. Good night.
Wish her buonanotte from Munter. And buongiorno too, if it comes.
Oh, be off with you! The flames flickered autumnally in the country stove. Tonight, the fire pleases me more than ever. Before it fizzles down to burning coals, reduces itself to ash, my lady comes. And then the wood strikes up once more and the warm night becomes a lustrous feast. Early in the morning, she leaves our place of love, stirring up the flames from morning ash. Before all others, Amor gave her the pleasure of stoking the flames after they'd sunken down to ash. Shh! Don't move.
Wow.
Shh. Just 1 second, please. Don't move.
Oh,
Please! It's gone. It's gone. I give up.
It took long
Life is in the search, not the result.
I'd appreciate a result every once in a while. Shall I change?
No. Stay exactly as you are.
How very forward.
Don't mock me.
I don't.
Isn't it amazing?
The female me?
How I can just reach out my hand to your knee
Could it
and
perhaps-
touch it. And touch your body. And you allow me that. As if it's my own room to explore.
There shall be no exploring tonight if you keep talking nonsense about knees. Some women prefer action.
Action?
I've seen you. You spend too much time looking. And those looks you give me.
In ancient times, when gods and goddesses loved, a lust followed a look, a pleasure followed desire.
Was it that simple?
Probably. How long do you think the goddess of love kept sane after seeing Achilles on the Aegean plain?
Insanity and love have little in common.
Amor remains a rogue.
Whoever trusts him is mistaken.
How happy I feel here, though. I think of the times when grey days surrounded me in the north, the dark heavens pressing down on my mind, the colourless and formless world immersed so deeply within myself I couldn't see beyond it. And now, it's different, is all.
Remarkable.
It isn't exactly hot here, but you feel warmth really deep inside you in a way I've never had any conception of. It's confusing. I'm not sure yet if it's a good thing.
Do not concentrate on one thing. It will only drive you mad. You need thousands of things. A confusion of things in your head. There lies happiness.
Well, then let confusion reign.
Is that a toast?
It can be.
There's wine left.
Then yes, a toast to amor.
To confusion. Kiss me. Do not play dumb. Kiss me.
But
Yield yourself up to me. I shan't think less of you.
must I
Not
always?
always. But it is women who are wrong, not men. Kiss me. Love, sorrow strike in many different ways. We cannot plot how we feel.
We can try to understand it.
Must everything be understood?
Yes, so we see mystery and seek a solution.
And if there is none,
There is always a solution. Sometimes there are too many. We must pick the one that suits us best.
I prefer not knowing. Ignorance presents endless opportunities for invention.
Faustino.
You, for example, know nothing of love. And yet you seem to know everything. It's like you're seeing the world for the first time, like a baby. You don't judge because you don't know. You just do.
I suppose love makes babes of us all.
We talk too much.
A widow must be consoled.
Words are not the only mean to that end.
What can I do?
Shall I undress?
Yes. Please.
Then undress me.
Johann Wolfgang von Goethe returned to Weimar after his secret trip to Italy in the spring of 1788. There he experienced the so-called rebirth he had been hoping for, and amongst learning the art of painting and relearning the art of writing, met this young, sensual Italian girl with whom he became involved. This gave Goethe the tender, formative sexual experience he did not know he was looking for, but was so drastically in need of. And if his fleeing to Italy at 3 a.m. on the 3rd of September 1786 did not cause enough consternation amongst his conservative friends and allies back in Germany, what he undertook to do on his return was positively scandalous.
Italy's ruined
It
him.
was certainly a lot thinner when
You've seen
I...
him already?
What?
Well, Fritz was the first person he called for.
I was. And he was very tanned too, like a strong cup of tea.
Well, he suggested
How
to me...
did you recognize him?
He'll show himself, the little chameleon. Don't know why it's taking him so long to pay me a visit.
Well, perhaps when your wife's away, this particular mouse doesn't come out to play.
He loves me quite as much as he does Caroline.
That I do not doubt.
And I thank you for it.
No, I think he's simply given up on society for a while. And his friends too, I suppose. It's not like I've given him back his civil duties. Apart from a few week meetings every week or so, the man is as free as an Italian.
Oh, must you be so vulgar?
Don't go worrying yourself, Charlotta. As I was going to say, he suggested to me he wasn't all that much changed.
Oh, well, he's only fooling himself.
I thought the whole point of this trip
Oh, this exploration of self.
This trip was to change.
I will return a new man.
Oh, Fritz.
He wrote that to me.
One needs to be reborn. He wrote that.
Reborn as what exactly?
He didn't say. I don't think the man even knows what he wants anymore.
Well, apart from
Christiane. No, don't even mention that woman's name to me. It's shameful the way he's behaving.
Why?
This is all idle gossip.
Who is this Christiane woman?
Oh, my dear, you mean you don't know?
Ah!
Hello, sir.
Hello. What can I do for you, Mrs.
Vulpius. Miss Vulpius.
Miss Vulpius? I'm a very busy man, you know.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry to take up your time. My brother, Christiane Vulpius.
Christiane!
Yes. He bids me give you this letter. He's a writer like you.
He is he? A writer like me. I'll take a look. He's asking for me to be his sponsor.
Oh.
Did you know the contents of this letter?
No. He just asked me to meet with you.
I'll write to him tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Goethe. It's so very generous of you. He will be so thankful for your help. He does struggle.
We all struggle, Miss Vulpius.
Of course.
But, the way I see it, the state must support its artists. Art is, of course, the great educator. I help anyone who I consider to have talents.
Christiane is very talented.
I'm sure he is. Do you have any dinner plans for tonight, Miss Vulpius?
It seems not.
Mother.
No, my dear Fritz, the world will know sooner or later. Johann von Goethe has made the young Christiane Vulpius into his little clerk and lets her come to him whenever she likes.
Oh, really?
I'm amazed.
And she's an orphan.
An orphan?
She had a father until
And
recently,
who's
Mother.
he? Do we know him?
It
Was
comes
he
as
anyone?
no surprise to me.
I'm sure it doesn't.
He's lived for 2 years in the company of down-to-earth, raw, carefree people. I do not wonder that all that has rubbed off on our Goethe.
But really,
But really, to continue behaving in such an inappropriate way in Weimar, it's embarrassing.
He's a creative artist who thrives off experimentation. We cannot condemn a person for following their impulse.
I doubt he cares whether we condemn him or not.
Well, I find his company as enlightening and educational as I ever did.
I find him even more approachable. He's much more talkative than he used to be. He seems to have brought back an excitement, or perhaps a contentment that wasn't there before he left.
Although he seems to dwell more on the Dutch's trivial issues, as if he's trying to avoid the Dutch's bigger issues.
Like me, his letters have become so coded, it's as if he can't bring himself to say certain things to me.
Charlotta, this may be difficult for you to hear, but there are things a man can say to a man that he simply cannot say to a woman.
Nonsense. If two people have known each other for 12 years, there should be no secrets.
So you're telling me you've never read anything I've written, ever?
No, I'm sorry. I only read out of boredom. Or if the weather's bad.
And I ought to be offended.
But you're not.
How can I be?
I'm sure it's excellent, all of it.
It isn't.
In my defence, I must have been about 9 when Goethe came out.
So you have heard of it?
Who hasn't?
I knew it.
Show off.
I only wrote that because my sister told me to, you know. It helped me out of a crisis of sorts.
The crisis.
I had my heart broken. My memory of that time's a bit hazy.
I remember those years so well when the whole Werther thing was happening.
Why?
I was devastated. My father remarried around that time.
That doesn't seem so bad.
She was pregnant at the ceremony. It was so embarrassing.
Oh, he sounds like a flirt.
He was a fool. It's a lucky child who has parents that really care for it. I feel like I spent my whole life fixing my father's mistakes.
I was a burden to my parents.
I doubt that very much.
Fathers should expect less of their sons. I spent my university years flipping between the extremes of melancholic anxiety and unrestrained frivolity. Ended up with a hemorrhage. Didn't finish. Second time round, failed my dissertation. My thoughts exactly.
Oh, I bet those teachers feel a little silly now.
They'll probably publish it one day. People pore over things, you know. I used to reveal so much about myself.
Well, it's better to make those mistakes early on. People forget.
No, they don't. I know people don't resolve obvious. You have to learn to care less.
Oh, I think that everyone needs to have something to care about.
Of course they do. I think that's my current crisis.
The crisis of caring. Sounds like a novel.
An awful novel. I should write it.
Oh, you must. And if you publish in winter, maybe I'll read this one.
Maybe.
But what is he searching for in this woman? What does she possess that we don't?
The man needs simpler pleasures than what we can offer him. Someone from the periphery to inspire him, perhaps, or keep him centred.
We have inspired him plenty so far.
But not as Italy has inspired him. I believe he's entered a new phase of his creative career. We will see very different things being written by him from now on.
It sounds like you know something we do not, Carl August.
I know only that the man has done much that he enjoyed, but nothing he could regret. Oh, Charlotte, is it? We put too many limitations on relationships and too many limitations on him. And so, like a pubescent child rebelling against his parents, Goethe has broken free from us. We must allow him that at least.
Allow him what? To cavort around with some plump piece of nothing?
I say only what the man may do as he pleases. I believe that this trip has taught him doing as you please does far more good than listening to our advice ever could. As we grow older, we feel that we've reached our peak, that our development and capacity for change has levelled out. Well, it doesn't. It never can. Goethe has found something inside of him kept hidden for almost 40 years. How can we know what that feels like? Should we ourselves feel ashamed for suppressing something inside of him for so long, instead of trying to shame him for revealing it? Charlotte, if he feels he cannot be open with you, why is that? The blame cannot lay solely with him. He has, however, found somebody willing to accept this new self, this reborn Goethe. Someone who understands him more than we ever could. My point is, we do not know, and we never will know. And we must learn to be content with that.
He has managed an extraordinary amount of work since leaving Weimar. The things he's been sending to me have been simply extraordinary.
I've seen him working feverishly since his return as well.
Well, he's been working on those plays for the better part of a decade. It's about time they were finished.
But he is here for us now. He came back. And I think we should be here for him too.
We must allow his feelings to supersede our own.
Boys, I do agree, but this vulpous woman does sound like trouble. Unless they summon the nerve to marry, how can we sit calmly by and watch whilst Goethe shames himself and us all with him? It simply isn't possible. What do you say, Charlotte?
Well, he's become carnal, living like a mad adolescent, keeping secrets, and hasn't thought about me in any of this at all. What about the friends he's left behind? Oh, he may have discovered sex. He may have discovered a new part of himself. But he's lost the part of him that drew me to him and him to me in the first place.
Goethe too was perturbed. I ruminated on this one night when Christiane, who Goethe's mother often playfully called the bed shuts, or the bed buddy, slipped in through the back door and found Goethe in the midst of thinking.
Don't worry, no one saw.
Good.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I've been...
Is that a poem?
Yes, it's what I've been working on all day. It's hard
To write. Should
Oh,
I?
no, of course not. I received a letter from Charlotta today.
That woman despises me.
She doesn't even know you. I don't think she even knows me anymore.
You barely speak.
That's just it, I can't bring myself to. She was so cold to me when I came back to Weimar. I don't think she understands me anymore. Or I don't understand her. And anyway, when we do write, she only uses it as an excuse to reprimand me.
She should mind her own business for once.
I'm sure it all comes from a place of
Jealousy.
love. She should know one can live without the other. The way she used to handle me, the way she would try and control all my movements, criticise my way of being.
Has it changed?
I was away 2 years, Christiane. And leaving Rome has cost me more than is right and proper for my age. I wanted to heal the things that tortured me and rendered me useless. I wanted to satisfy my desire for a purer form of art other than the nonsense I was writing before. I wanted...
You seem content to me.
And I am. I just feel... Well, I felt...
Has it changed?
Of course. I felt so restless until I found you.
Me?
You helped me find the words again.
Johann, I'm pregnant.
What?
I'm...
Are you...
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Well, that's excellent news.
We better marry!
Marry?
As soon as possible!
What on earth for? Oh, you can move in with me. Your aunt can live in the annex next door and help with the child. We can finally forgo with all this sneaking around. It's fantastic.
Marriage will be the way to accomplish that, not a child.
And if a child is not a symbol of our affection, I don't know what is.
I don't disagree,
But?
but marriage legitimizes the child, legitimizes this.
To whom?
To society. Don't.
And what does that matter?
Can you say that? Will people...
Oh, people. People
Don't.
people. Who cares?
What will they think?
Who cares?
What will they do?
What happens on the inside is different to what happens on the outside.
But-
And we can live together without being married, okay? People will just have to accept that. I am Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I set the trends. I say what is acceptable in Weimar and what is not.
But I'm not. What about Christiane Vulpius? A poor girl with no parents, no name, no money. What will happen to me? I cannot force society the way that you do.
Then I will force it for you.
Do you know how I will be treated?
What do you need society for all of a sudden? I can't marry you, Christiane. You know that I can't.
It's because of who I am.
Oh no, not only that! I couldn't marry anyone. Don't you see? It's too mundane. It's a box. I cannot force myself to live in and will not force you to either. What do we have to gain from it? I love you, Christiane. Truly, in more ways than one. I can do many things to prove that to you, but marriage will not be one of them.
Then there isn't much that I can say.
No, there isn't.
It will be hard.
I know.
Do you?
We'll be fine.
We'll be happy.
That I can promise you.
Can you, Johann?
No, I won't. I won't.
All right. Go on then. Read me a little poem.
How happy do I now find myself enthralled on classical soil, the past and present talking to me louder and more alluringly. I took their advice, leafed through the works of the ancients daily with active hand and fresh enjoyment. But at night, amour kept me busy in different ways. If I was only taught half of what I could have been, I was doubly satisfied. And do I not teach myself when I carve out the form of loving bosoms, my hands guided across your hips? Only then do I truly understand marble. I think and compare, see with feeling eyes, feel with seeing hands. If love steals the hours of the day from me, then give me the hours of night as recompense. But we do not just kiss. No. We often talk sense. If sleep overcomes our love, I lie and think. I have often written poetry in her arms, and quietly, with tender fingers, tapped out hexameters on her back. Her slumberous breathing pouring through her skin and penetrating deep into my breast.
Goethe and Christiane's dialogue in this instance was short and unsatisfying, as most dialogues are. But theirs, as most, was a relationship not based on words, but on something else. Something that cowers around the diaphragm and expresses itself in a touch, in a look, and sometimes in a badly written poem. Exposing a wound's heals in wartime, but sometimes waving your hands in the dark could be just as helpful too.
And the boy said, little red rose, the boy said, I'll pick you, little red rose, on the heath. And the rose said, I'll stab you so you always think of me.
On the 25th December 1789, a boy was born. It was 5 long days of labor for Christiane. Many assumed she would not survive it. Goethe was in the nearby town of Vienna at that time and rushed back to be with her. We have been told he suffered with her too.
Well,
Wow.
I shan't be baptizing anything that man gives me.
well, I'm sure he knows that already.
I'd be surprised if he persuades anyone in Weimar to do it.
He will find a
Oh,
way.
Fritz, you are no expert on the
I
comings
wasn't
and...
just
Must I repeat
Oh, Charlotte,
myself?
please.
Don't Charlotte to me. What are you doing in all this?
Well, I was going to say that I was...
No, you are doing nothing. You are endorsing everything he does. The man has committed crimes that most men would be thrown in prison for.
We
You
do not
must do
seek to
something.
punish mischievous behaviour, merely prevents it becoming fashionable.
He's making a rather embarrassing example of himself.
Well, then people should look for examples from someone else. Men of intelligence make fools of themselves just as we do.
The fools. We have lost our greatest writer to a whore, and he has a child
Oh,
with her.
extraordinary.
No, it's unprecedented, and it's illegal. Is he now above the law? We've got to do something. We cannot have this flaunted about in front of our noses. The stench will become unbearable.
Charlotte is right in this, Your Excellency. I would strongly advise that something be done.
Yes, he must be made an example of.
No one is above the Duke, and no one is above the law.
Well, I know of a place outside the city walls. Spacious and rather comfortable. We often use it to house things we'd rather not be seen in public. If you were to move there, Charlotte, would that appease you?
Perhaps.
Then it's settled, under the rug with him.
Now what?
He shall have to earn his way back. My mother will be travelling to Venice soon. He'll accompany her, that will be a start.
The distance will do him good, I imagine.
One can only miss what one is missing.
And the less we see of him, the better.
Saddens me to hear you say that, Charlotte. I believe he's found a reason to stay put for a while. I myself am simply glad to have an old friend back.
My heart beat quick with haste to horse, and off wildly like a hero into
He
war.
always leaves.
You'll come back.
I left, and you stayed. I looked at you and I looked at the ground. And I looked after you with tear-stained eyes.
My heart is wholly on your side, and every breath I take for you.
And yet what joy it is to be loved.
And to love, oh gods, what joy.
Friday evening around 6 o'clock. My love, I have a strong desire to write you a few words this evening, and so I shall. First of all, I should tell you that I washed and dried your window curtains today, and even after all of that hard work, I'm still feeling quite funny, and all of the while wish, my darling, were here with me. As you are currently not here, I must keep myself busy with writing. If only I could, I would pack up little August and put myself and him on the next mail coach to you so that my appetite may be appeased. I'm feeling rather rabbity. As I cannot do that, however, I must be content here, so shall see if there isn't someone else who will come hop around the garden with me. Eat well, my darling. Yours forever, Christiane.
If only you were at this moment by my side, I can imagine nothing better. Just think, we are currently so close to Italy and yet can find no good glass of wine. It will be different in our new home, after you've sorted out the kitchen and the cellar, of course. Don't hate me. I sometimes get jealous thinking about you, and imagine another man could have caught your eye that you like much better than me. There are many men that are much more handsome and pleasant than I am, but you are not allowed to think that. You should think of me as the best, for I love you so much, and nothing pleases me except you. I often dream of you, random, confusing things, but we always have love for each other. I've ordered 2 mattresses and feather pillows from my mother. Please do get the house in order for when I return. In all the years when I didn't possess your heart, what did the rest of the world bring me? Now that I have it, I would like to keep it. Therefore, I am yours too. All of me.
My love, I have received the lovely pillows and was so thrilled. But the note from your mother went above and beyond all else. I wept with joy after reading it. I've done something without your knowing. I've written to your mother and thanked her. My heart was set on it and I had to write her. You aren't angry, are you?
You did the right thing writing to my mother. I'm sure she will enjoy reading your notes. She is much more settled now on the idea of us. I told her how good you are to me and how happy you make me.
It brings me so much joy to hear that your mother isn't angry with me. It has grieved me so much lately. I would often think about it in quiet moments. That I have the freedom to hold you in my arms and tell you how much I love you, and that you are in all of my thoughts. All of my pleasures are halved when you are not with me. Come home soon. I've had a few visits from the Verners lately and a few of the flower ladies, most likely out of curiosity to see the child. Oh, speaking of which, I'd almost forgotten. The little one is so pleased with his ABC book and is so ready to start learning his ABCs. He keeps saying, I want to be able to do something when Dad comes home. But you should bring him something from Italy, a sword and some flint or something. Live well, my darling, and keep out of danger. I love you above all else. Christiane.
Once through the forest alone I went to seek for nothing. My thoughts were bent. I saw in the shadow a flower stand there. As stars it glistened, as eyes 'twas fair.
With all its roots I dug with care, and took it home to my